All right, it says to write the point-slope form of the line satisfying the given conditions, and then use the point-slope form that we just found to write the slope-intercept form of the equation. So what are these two forms they're talking about? Well, they're this. The point-slope is y minus y1 is equal to m times x minus x1. We say, x sub 1 and y sub 1. The slope-intercept is y equals mx plus b. Well, even if they didn't tell us to write the point-slope form, this is the one we want to turn to anyway when we're asked to write the equation of a line given some conditions. But to use this, we need the slope. Well, we don't know the slope. They didn't give us that. But they practically did. They gave us these 2 points, and we can calculate the slope. And then we need a known point, x1 and y1. That's just any known point on the line. Well, we happen to have 2 points, so we could use either this for x1, y1 or this for x1, y1. But we can't do much without finding that slope, so we're going to start with that. The slope is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So we just have to decide what's x1, y1, which one is x2, y2. Well, let's call this guy x1, y1, and this one is x2, y2. You could label them the other way around, and it won't make a bit of difference. So let's see what we get. y2 minus y1 is negative 4 minus a negative 8. x2 minus x1 is negative 6 minus a negative 1. All these double negatives floating around, so let's take care of that first. Negative 4 minus a negative 8 is the same as plus 8. Negative 6 minus a negative 1 is the same as negative 6 plus 1. Which turns into then negative 4 plus 8 is a positive 4, negative 6 plus 1 is a negative 5. So here's our slope. Slope is a negative 4/5. So now we're ready to plug that slope and one of the known points into this. Y minus y1 is equal to m times x minus x1. That's the point-slope form. All right, well, we know the slope is going to go right there, and for the x1, y1, remember I said we could use either one of these. Since this one's already labeled, why not use that one? Negative 1, negative 8. All right, so let's take that, keeping in mind that we're using negative 1, negative 8 as our x1, y1. All right, so we're going to have y minus y1, y minus a negative 8, is equal to the slope, negative 4/5, times x minus x1, which is negative 1. This is really the point-slope form right here. But you don't want to leave the double negative, so let's write this as y plus 8 is equal to negative 4/5 times x plus 1. And this is the point-slope form. That's the first answer at once. Now I need to mention that had we used instead negative 6, negative 4 for our x1, y1, then this is clearly going to look different. But both are correct. The point-slope form that we got would look different had we used the different x1, y1, but it would be equivalent to this. And not only that, no matter which one we use, when we then turn around to find the slope-intercept form, we're going to get the same answer regardless of which of those 2 points we used. So now I want to solve this equation that we just found. Solve it for y, which puts it in the slope-intercept form. So what we had just now was y plus 8 is equal to negative 4/5 times x plus 1. That was our slope-intercept form. But now to solve this for y, I need to first distribute the negative 4/5 through the parentheses. So I get y plus 8 is equal to negative 4/5 x. Negative 4/5 times positive 1 is negative 4/5. Now we just have to deal with this fraction. That's what makes this one a little bit more difficult, but not the end of the world. So I want to get y by itself. I'm one step away from that, really. You're just going to subtract 8 from both sides. So we end up with y is equal to negative 4/5 x minus 4/5, and then subtract 8. Well, I'm going to write this as minus 8 over 1, because if I'm going to combine these two, I need a common denominator. So I get negative 4/5 x minus 4/5. All right, well, if I'm going to rewrite 8 so that the denominator is 5, then what I have to do to make that transition is I've got to take that 8 over 1, and I've got to multiply the top and the bottom by 5. That's how I'm going to get 5 in the denominator. But if I multiply the denominator times 5, I've got to multiply the numerator times 5. Okay? And so now we can do this, combine these two things now that they have a common denominator. So I'm going to get y is equal to negative 4/5 x. Negative 4/5 minus 40 over 5 is minus 44 over 5. And if you could simplify this fraction, then we would want to if there were some common factors, but it's in lowest terms. So this is the slope-intercept form of the line. And so we have found, as they asked us to, both forms, point-slope form and the slope-intercept form.